Hello there. Welcome to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. I'm going to make this short and sweet because I'm about to hit the road and go to the office. Here is early in the morning where I'm at. I am not in the Atlanta area. I'm in a northern location in the United States. And let's just say that even though it is the second day of spring, the weather up here does not reflect it. It is in the 30s. Actually, it's 20 some degrees where I'm at right now. And I think the high is going to be in the high 30s. So I am looking forward to getting back on that plane later on this evening and heading back to the south for some warmer weather. But in the meantime, I've got a lot of work to do. But I want to share with you my thoughts on a recent release from the Criterion Collection that we see here, Nothing But a Man. This is a film from director Michael Roemer. This is one of the collaborations that he was engaged with his cinematographer Robert M. Young. And this is a 1964 film that is very powerful. I had never heard of it until it was announced a few months ago that it was coming to the Criterion Collection, and it is a great addition to Criterion from a film standpoint. It's another example for me of a great discovery of a film and director that I had never even heard of before. This is a film that has something to say. And on the other side of this, I'm going to talk about what I think about this movie and what I think about this overall release and whether or not this is a title you should consider adding to your collection. So I also want to hear what you think about Nothing But a Man, but let's talk about it. One of the things I love about the Criterion Collection is they have such a wide range of films that you can get into and discover, whether it's the, high art, type films that, are for the, 2D, whatever you want to call it, the high art avant-garde type cinema that a lot of people might not be into, all the way to mainstream titles that most people can get into, like The Breakfast Club or Fast Times at Ridgemont High, or even Repo Man. And they just have a really nice eclectic mix of titles, and they have something for pretty much everybody if you take the time to look for it. But I also love the fact that a lot of the films in the collection cover some really interesting and I think important social issues and themes. And that's what Nothing But a Man checks the box for me. This film really talks about, to just make a long story short, it talks about racial injustices going on in the South and has themes that in many ways still carry on even to this day, but it really deals with some of the challenges that people were dealing with at this time in the 1960s. Of course, you have Ivan Dixon, who plays the main character Duff, and then you have Abbey Lincoln, who plays his love interest and eventual wife in this movie. And it just deals with their struggles, specifically his struggles as a Black man in the South. He is a railroad worker, and he's just going through challenges going from one job to the next, trying to navigate society in a less than fair and equitable world. So you see the relationships that he is engaged in, not only with this young lady played by Abby Lincoln, but also the relationship that he has with his future father-in-law, who is a preacher in the area, and the differences between how Duff handles racial injustice and how his father-in-law handles racial injustice is sort of a symbol of, I think, almost an archetype of like the different approaches that, say, a Martin Luther King Jr. took to the civil rights movement and Malcolm X took to the civil rights movement, is sort of symbolized in the differences in approach between Duff's character and his preacher father-in-law's character. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic in this film, but it deals with all of the issues related to racial injustice, the challenges that that presents to certain communities. And I think this film does a beautiful job of portraying that. And part of the beauty of how it's portrayed is just the fact that it's shot on location. So it's shot in these southern locations. So you're seeing, where these things were actually happening. And I think that gives a lot of authenticity to what you're looking at. Now, I'm going to share my screen real quickly and just show you the IMDb listing for this title. And then I will read the back of the beautiful Criterion case. So I will share my entire screen now. All right, so you should be seeing Nothing But a Man. But this is just a fantastic film. I'd never heard of this movie before, so this was a great discovery for me. It says here a Black man and his school teacher wife face discriminatory challenges in 1960s America. That is a really fair way to encapsulate what this film, Nothing But a Man, is about. It's directed by Michael Roemer, who I will show here. This director, actually, I won't show him because he is not. There is no picture here on IMDb, but he's still alive. He was born in 1928, so he is on January 1st. He's 96 years old. Now, his cinematographer, Robert Young, I believe, recently passed away. Let me pull this up. Yeah, he recently passed away in 2024, so earlier this year. So this was his longtime collaborator. I think they did 4 films together, and just fantastic stuff. So you have here Ivan Dixon here, who plays Duff Anderson. He's the railroad worker. You have Abbey Lincoln, who plays Josie, his love interest. She is the daughter of the preacher. You have Julius Harris, who plays Will Anderson, who is Ivan's father, who he has issues. So there's that dynamic of dealing with his father in this film and the inadequacies that his father provided to his life. You have Gloria Foster, who played Lee. You just have some fantastic actors in this movie, including Yaphet Kotto, who played Jocko. So Yaphet Kotto played in a number of films in the 1970s, and he appears in this 1964 film. So it's great to see him here. But this is just a fascinating film that I simply enjoyed watching and definitely need to revisit because there's so much rich material in this relatively short running time of 91 minutes that definitely resonates with me. I just like the realness and authenticity of the way this film is presented. And I think that Michael Roemer and Robert Young do a beautiful job of presenting this story. Part of what makes this film so fascinating is the fact that, Michael Young and Robert Young are, of course, white directors. They're from a Jewish background. So they're coming at it from a different angle, not being part of the Black community and presenting this story in a very powerful way, anyway. And just, I think, effectively presenting these actors, Ivan Dixon and Abbey Lincoln, and this whole cast in presenting a very effective story overall. You see the inside of this case here. Very lovely. I like the nice disc art here with Abbey Lincoln, Josie looking on at Duff. I think this is probably in the car. But if you look on the inside of the case itself, see some nice scenery there. You see Duff. I think this is in the house of the preacher. The dynamic between Duff and the preacher, the dynamic between Duff and his father, the dynamic between Duff and, of course, Josie is just fascinating how it all plays out in this movie. This insert here, of course, shows Duff here on the streets. At the top there, you see Duff's father, who has a number of issues, and then you see Duff and Josie there at the bottom. This is an essay, What We Can See in Ourselves. This is from Gene Seymour, a very powerful essay that I highly, highly recommend. And then when you look at the master, and it says here, Nothing But a Man is presented in its original aspect ratio of 1.37 to 1. Approved by director Michael Roemer, this new digital master was created from the 35 millimeter original camera negative held by the George Eastman Museum and restored in 4K resolution. The original monaural soundtrack was remastered from the 35 millimeter original soundtrack negative by the Criterion Collection. So this looks really nice on Blu-ray. I must say, I was very impressed with the picture quality of Nothing But a Man in terms of this nice black and white classic 1964 film. It really brings this film to life for modern audiences. And I think it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful restoration. And it looks fantastic on Blu-ray disc. Would this look great on 4K? Probably. But this is an example of whether it's on Blu-ray or 4K, it really is about the movie itself and what this movie has to say and the message of this film and how powerful this film is. And I think that really carries the day here. It doesn't matter what format it's on, whether you watch it on DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever. Just enjoy this film. But it looks great on this Blu-ray disc, I must say. Now, Michael Roemer's groundbreaking first feature, sensitively shot by his close collaborator Robert M. Young, is a still, resonant expression of humanity in the face of virulent prejudice. Made at the height of the civil rights movement, Nothing But a Man reveals a toll of systemic racism through his honest portrait of a Southern Black railroad worker, Ivan Dixon, and confronting the daily challenges of discrimination and economic precarity as he attempts to settle down with his new wife, jazz great Abbey Lincoln, and track down his father, Julius Harris. Admired by Malcolm X and now recognized as a landmark of American cinema, this tender film grounds its social critique in characters of unforgettable complexity and truth. This is a fantastic film. I need to definitely revisit it and just absorb, more of what this story is communicating to us. There are a couple of features on here. It's not an incredibly packed edition, as you can see there. So it doesn't have a ton of special features, but the features that are on here are pretty strong. You have an introduction to Michael Roemer, a new interview program that features Roemer. So I had never heard of Michael Roemer, so it was great to hear a little bit about his background and his collaborations with Robert M. Young, his cinematographer. You do have a conversation with them from 20 years ago between Romer and co-producer and cinematographer Robert M. Young, which at that time, 20 years ago, they were in their mid to late 70s back then. And so this is 20 years later. And of course, Michael Romer is still with us at 96 years old, and Robert M. Young just recently passed away earlier this year. So you have a program that features some archival interviews with actors Ivan Dixon, Abbey Lincoln, and Julius Harris. Of course, they've all moved on, but these are some archival interviews that feature them. So it's good to see them talking about this film. I think these interviews took place about 20 years after the film came out. So it was cool to see that. And then you have this essay, as I mentioned, included in here by Gene Seymour. So this is a nice addition from Criterion. I think the overall draw of this is just the power of the film itself. It is a film that has something to say, great social commentary, and I definitely can appreciate that. And I think it has a great place in the Criterion Collection. But the other piece of it is just how beautifully it's presented in this nice restoration on this Blu-ray disc. It looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a new restored 4K digital master from the original negative, and it looks great on Blu-ray disc of a beautiful black and white film. Really brings this film to life for modern audiences. So I can definitely recommend Nothing But a Man on Blu-ray from Criterion in an upcoming flash sale, upcoming Barnes and Noble sale. Definitely pick this up when you get a chance. It comes in a spine number 1209 in the Criterion Collection, and it has my highest recommendation just simply because of what it has to say as a film. And you also learn about these filmmakers, Michael Roemer and Robert M. Young, as well as these wonderful actors, Ivan Dixon and Abbey Lincoln. So it's a nice little compact edition. Again, it's not packed with features, but it fits a lot in a pretty modest package. So Nothing But a Man comes recommended. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about Nothing But a Man if you've seen it. Let me know what you think about other films from Michael Roemer and Robert M. Young. And let me know, what you think about, Ivan Dixon and Abbey Lincoln in terms of their performances in this film and other things that you have seen them in. Let me know all that in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. I've got to pack up here and get ready to head out, but hope you have a great day, and we'll be talking to you soon. Peace. Time to warm up and head back to Georgia soon.